Ever since the destruction of Zool, business has been slow for the Ghostbusters. The phone hardly rings and a thick layer of dust covers the office furniture. That was until recent earthquakes and ghost activity has led to many clients calling them for help. Are you daring enough to guide the Ghostbusters throughout their mission? Ghostbusters on Sega Genesis released in 1990 and takes place after the first movie. This could have been called Ghostbusters 2, but that would have been confusing since the movie already has a sequel. Sequel or not, this is a pretty good platformer. The controls are good, the graphics and sounds are great, and there's a huge variety of ghost to bust. The stages are non-linear, meaning you have to go through certain paths in order to find your way to the main objective. This gives players a lot of room to explore, but you can get lost if you don't keep track of where you are. There's a lot I want to say about this game, but I think I'll save that for the long play. For now, let's go over the gameplay. If you haven't noticed from the title, I'm specifically playing Ghostbusters A Special Edition. Not only does this hack come with some cool additions like extra uniforms, but it also adds Winston, the fourth Ghostbuster. Other than that, the gameplay itself is the same. So even though I'm playing a modified edition, everything done in this long play can also be done in the regular version. When you enter a stage, you have to find and defeat all of the mid-ghosts before you're able to face off against the main boss. The stages will be more complex as you go on, but the goal will always be the same. In between stages, you can buy items and weapons that will help you on your journey. You can also exit the stage temporarily to cash in on any mid-ghosts captured, but I can't talk about capturing until I talk about the controls. For the cutscenes, you can either skip them with A, or advance to the next box of text with C. As for the gameplay, A uses bombs, B shoots, and C is for jumping. You can shoot in 5 directions, and you can even shoot while jumping, crawling, or swimming. You can't shoot while climbing a ladder, but you can still use bombs and you are considered invincible while climbing. When it comes to jumping, there are 2 kinds of jumps. You can either perform a full jump by pressing and holding C, or you can do a short jump by tapping C. When you jump, you can only shoot left or right. To shoot up while jumping, you have to already be aiming up before you jump. This can be useful if your shots doesn't reach the enemy you're trying to hit. When you defeat a mid-ghost, you have the opportunity to catch them. Your character will automatically aim at an angle and you can move left and right. Your objective here is to pull the ghost into the trap's range by hitting them with your beam. If you press and hold B, you'll pull the ghost in. If you let go of B, they'll slowly try to escape the beam. You don't have to capture the ghost, but doing so will give you some health and energy back, as well as some extra cash. Coming up is the long play. Considering this is a platformer, I think it would be best if I commentated over this run. If you'd rather watch this run unedited, or you absolutely hate my voice to your guts, there will be an unedited version of this run in the description. If you'd rather have a complete guide that explains this game in more detail, then there will also be a link to that in the description. Without further ado, let's start busting.
Bustin' makes me feel good.
Alright, so here's the long play to Ghostbusters Special Edition. Now, even though I am playing this version, I'm specifically playing it because I want to use the original Ghostbusters costume, which is brown, not blue. So you won't be seeing any Winston, unfortunately. But if you do decide to pick him, all you gotta do is press right while on Egon to pick him. He does have better jumping than Peter, so it could make certain platforming sections easier. But for this run, I'm going to use Raymond because that's what you can pick in the regular version. So, like I said, everything you see here can also be done in that version as well. Hey, look, he's chilling in the back. So, the story. More or less, earthquakes happening and ghost activity has started again. So what that means is more business for the Ghostbusters. And right after this scene, you will get a stage select. So you got 4 stages. You got the home sweet home, the apartment, the Woody house, and the high-rise building. You can tackle these in any order you want, but for this long play specifically, I'm going to be doing the home sweet home. This from stage 1 to stage 4 in order, because the hardest stages give you more money. So, client can't sleep, it's time to deal with the ghosts in this house. Now, I'm not going to commentate over this entire playthrough because it's gonna start sounding redundant, but I'll at least try to go over the game and what I'm doing here. So, You can see the pause menu. This is your inventory. You got the regular shot, the pecking duck, the goggles, and the bombs. For this stage, it's pretty easy. Like, there are some enemies you gotta get used to, like this jelly. When you shoot in this direction, it will jump at you, and if you're not ready for it, it can be annoying. But for me, I just shoot in this direction, I crouch under, and then I shoot in the other direction. So right here, I use a bomb because I didn't want to fall back down over and over again. But this is hard mode. So if you're playing on normal mode, I don't know if it's easy, but I think on normal mode, these enemies take one shot to take out. But because I'm on hard, they have more health than usual. So as mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is a maze-like game. The stages are non-linear. There's a lot of paths to take, and it's very easy to get lost if it's your first time playing, especially in the later stages where it gets more complex. Of course, I have practiced this game a lot. I know where everything is, so right here I'm gonna go right. This isn't the right way to go, but it does have some extra crates to destroy. When you destroy a crate, you'll either have a bomb or have money. And some of these crates are guaranteed to have money, but some of them are like RNG, like it might have bombs or it might have like money. And a money bag in this game is worth 300 each, which is pretty useful as you keep collecting more and more. Now right here, you want to drop down this hole, and to the right is the boss. Don't go left, because if you go left, they'll send you back like near the beginning of the stage, and it's a one-way door, so you have to do a lot of backtracking again. So if you can't tell, teacups have a lot of health. I'll talk about that later. First off, here's the first mid-boss. Pretty easy. You see him, this guy with top hat. When the boss pops up, go right under him and mash the shoot button. Thankfully, I have a very fast finger, so I'm able to take this boss down very quickly. This fight was a bit sloppy. I did get hit a lot. I do pull through though, because the head, it shoots homing projectiles, and the body shoots orbs, but they only go in one direction, so that part is easy to dodge. Alright, so here's the ghost capturing. Here's the ghost capturing process. You want the ghost to get close to the trap, and then you want to use the beam. What you see me doing here is I'm letting go of B and pressing and holding it. Like, I'm constantly going back and forth so that I can get that momentum back. Because when you're pulling in the ghost, it's kind of like sometimes they'll pull you in. Like, you can't really control your movement. Like, you'll be holding back, but you're going forward. So what I do there is I keep pressing and letting go of B so that I can get to that point where I'm actually walking backwards and I can get them to the trap easier. Alright, and now it's time for the first boss.
What are you up to? You woke me up just when I was sleeping good. I'm mean when I'm tired.
Alright, so here's the first boss, and this boss is pretty easy. I did mess up a lot here, but there's only two attacks that does it. The first one is it will shed its shell, and then the leaves that come out of the shell will go after you. You can destroy these leaves as it's coming towards you, and the only way to damage this boss is while the shell is out. Afterwards, it will roll into a ball, roll after you, and then it will get its shell back, and it will just do this back to back. It will never change up its pattern. It will always do this no matter what. So really what you do is you try to deal with some of the leaves as they're coming after you, and once its shell is gone, you start blasting them, and sooner or later you should be able to take it down. If you have the phaser shell, this fight's really easy. You can actually defeat it in like one go, especially if you're on easy mode. Of course, I don't have that here. I do take a few hits here. You can also use bombs to deal with the leaves if you're having a hard time dodging them. And you can also jump over the boss. It's kind of hard to do with Raymond since its speed is low. But if you're using like Peter or Egon, it's much easier to do if you need room. Like, I was in the right side and I barely had room to move. Also, when the eyes pop out right here, don't touch them. They actually deal damage, and I've actually lost a life from that happening. So that is stage 1, and from here the stages are going to get more complex. Like, you have to defeat more and more mid-ghosts, but other than that it won't be too bad until like I think stage 5 and 6 is when it becomes a real problem. Alright, so I got 2,000 for beating the stage, and I got 1,000 for capturing the mid-ghost that I defeated earlier. So what's going on now is that the Ghostbusters are collecting pieces of the stone tablet. You get a tablet for every stage you beat. So the main goal right now of the story is to collect all 4 pieces of the tablet to like decipher its message. So pretty much the best way to do that is to do the rest of the stages. So coming up is stage 2. And like I said earlier, I'm not going to be talking too much over this run because there's not too much to say without me sounding redundant. So I buy the Peck and Duck here, I'm going to buy a few bombs. The goggles are going to be for stage 3, so I'm not going to touch that yet, and since I don't have enough for a weapon, I might as well just go to the next stage. So yeah, I'm going to go to the apartment. You get 4,000 for beating it, and there's 2 mid-ghosts to defeat, which means if you capture both of them, you get an extra 2,000. Now, the reason why I was kind of staying on the stage select is because I was debating whether to just go to the Woody House. There are some runs where I just do the Woody House first, even though it's kind of difficult. But I said screw it, I'm just going to do the stages in order, so that's what I'm doing now. And this stage, if you know where you're going, it's pretty easy. The only... I mean, it's not that hard in my opinion, but you might struggle a little bit if like you just came out of the first stage and you never played this before. So right here, I just go straight to the right. Of course, dealing with some ghosts on the way. I should mention, when you defeat regular enemies, you get a bit of money. Like, some are worth 20 or 50. They're not worth too much, but you know, as you keep defeating ghosts, it does pile up. And that wall face on the top, you actually can't defeat it, so don't try blasting at it, you'll be there for hours. Now I'm going to go up here, hit the safe to get some money, and I'm going to go all the way to the left and down this ladder. Because the first mid-boss, it's like a siren, I think. And the reason why I prefer dealing with her first is because the second mid-boss is right next to the main boss. And remember, you can't face the main boss until you defeat all mid... I'm calling them mid-boss when they're technically mid-ghosts. It's the same thing, really, but until you defeat all the mid-ghosts, you cannot face the main boss. So ideally, you deal... Wow, back, that's funny. But yeah, ideally, you want to deal with all mid-ghosts so that you can face the mid-boss. And since the other mid-ghost is right next to the main boss, you know, it makes sense to like, okay, well, maybe deal with this one first, then I go to the other, and hey, the main boss is right there, and let's get straight into it. So that's why I'm going this direction first. You have to, these guys, you have to let them mine through the ice blocks in order to get through. There's no other way around it. That's something you gotta accept. But it's fine, it just means you gotta wait a little. So I'll take this guy out, and when I go up this ladder, I'm gonna use 2 bombs because it's 2 ice giants. Oh, I didn't. But that's something you can do. If it isn't obvious, I haven't watched this long play in a while. So normally I use 2 bombs there on the ladder, since sometimes they can like get a cheap shot on you when you get up the ladder, like if they're too close. But other than that, you can just climb up fast, go to the left, and keep blasting them. So this boss, she'll fly around and shoot 3 projectiles, and when she stops in place, only one of her bodies will actually take damage. So you want to shoot the right one, and when you find the right one, you can only shoot it in the head, and that's how you deal damage. If you have the 3-way shot, you can melt this boss like butter. You see a like weird example of that, even though I don't have the 3 shot right now. But like, see right here, look at all that damage I just did from pressing it really fast. So yeah, if I had the 3-way shot and like all 3 bullets was hitting her head, you can defeat this boss very quickly. Of course that didn't happen because I don't have that weapon yet. It is 7,000. You can usually afford it after doing the 3rd stage, but since I'm doing it in order, it's going to be a bit slower from here. Anyway, she is changing colors, she's almost defeated, and after she's done, the ghost capturing process should start. Here we go. Try to drag the ghost in. Not the best angle, so I'm gonna back up, and then try to get on the other side. There we go. So, you can see that I was using the screen to make it go to the other direction. Don't get too carried away with it, because if you do, you can actually outrun the ghost, and it would just go off screen, and that's it. So there are Slimers on the top. You can't hit them to get life or energy back. It depends on which tier they drop, which is blue or red. Even though I did it here, there's really no point. I have max health, you know, I have max energy. And this part, you just want to wait for these guys, and after they go to the right, I'm gonna blast them and make my way to the next mid-boss. Alright, so this is the second mid-boss. He's pretty easy. All you gotta do is keep shooting him in the head. And if you got a fast finger like me, then you can shoot him pretty fast. Or, you know, you could use a turbo button or something. But other than that, he'll either jump over you, swing above you, or summon crystals that you can destroy by shooting at them. And as long as you crawl under the boss, you should be fine. Now, check this out. If you defeat the boss right above the trap, you can capture the ghost instantly. And I think this is the only time I pull it off in this run. There might be one other time I do it, but if you can pull it off, it'll make the capturing process so much easier. Anyways, coming up is the main boss. Again, no point in me dealing with the Slimer. I didn't really get hit there. And yeah, here's the second boss of the game.
You human think you can challenge me? You don't know my power. Go for it, you little runs. I'll kill you in the bargain.
Sorry. Anyways, this is the second boss. He only has one move, and that's summoning these little snow ghosts that will they'll shoot carrots every now and then. They're pretty easy to deal with as long as you shoot them, of course. The only way this fight can go south is if you let too many of them spawn, so try to deal with them on your way. Again, the 3-shot or even the phaser shell is really good in this fight, but if you got like this is a regular shot, then it's gonna take a while. But just keep shooting the boss's head and you should be fine. Alright, now it's time for the third stage, and before I go into the stage, I am going to buy the 3-way shot. It's very helpful for the first two mid-bosses, I should say mid-ghosts. And I'm going to buy a few energy tanks so that I can increase my max energy. And then I'm going to buy a few bombs, and supposedly you are supposed to buy some infrared scopes, and you'll see why in a bit. But I'm not going to do that, and I will explain that as well. So the Woody House, this is worth 6,000 if you finish it, and there are 2 mini-ghosts faced. So, why is the infrared scope important? Well, the reason is because, despite the stage being filled with fire, there are no lights when you enter. So you're supposed to use the scope in order to light your way. Now the problem with the scope is that they don't really, they don't last forever. Like, after a while they do go out. So you can see here it's dark. I'm going to move a little just to, you know, save my scope for now. And now right here, I'm going to pause it, use a scope, which should light the way. I only have 2 right now, but 2 is enough if you know exactly where to go. So, do you need to buy more scopes? Well, like I said, if you know where to go, you don't. But the reason is because, as I said just now, they do run out, they don't last forever. However, when you defeat a mid-boss, your current scope, the one that's active, actually like re-energizes, like it goes back to full power. So if you're fast enough, like in this run right here, you can actually like get up to the first 2 mid-ghosts on just using 1 scope alone. And since you start with 2 scopes when you play the game, that's actually just enough to get through the stage without like being in the dark all day. So this is the first boss. It is a fire dragon. He only has 1 attack, and that's it, like going up from the bottom from either the left or right, and then it will breathe fire at you. The trick is to move away and jump right when it shoots the fire. And you should be able to dodge that attack consistently. If you have the 3-way shot like I do here, you can deal a lot of damage to it. Like, ooh, and I almost got the quick capture too. So yeah, the 3-way shot is great because you can melt it like butter. I am pressing and releasing B constantly in order to drag Ghost in. Got him. And yeah, perfect. Well, sorta, I did take a hit or 2. So, because I defeated the boss, the scope I have equipped is still going. Like, I don't need to unequip it and then equip it again, because you can tell the scope is running out when the screen gets dark again. Which, it will happen eventually, but not yet. So after defeating that boss, I am going to move to the right. Go up this ladder, there should be a slimer above, I don't really need to hit it yet. And when you drop down from here, you want to stick to the left so you can get some extra money. So you see me crawl through here, and I'm going to hold left in order to get on the small platform. There we go, got some extra 300 bucks. And when you climb down here, there's going to be some firewalls to jump over. As Raymond, these are pretty annoying because since he has high defense, great. But his speed is awful, so you have to make these jumps perfectly if you want to actually avoid taking damage, like I did there. So, if you're using Egon or Peter, those jumps are definitely easier. And after that part, you're going to have to hit a few enemies. Just watch out for the lights in the background, they will drop when you get close to them. And I don't think I got to mention those blue flames. If you shoot them, a blue hedgehog will come out of it, and you don't want this to happen. The blue hedgehogs are invincible and they will chase you. The only way to deal with them is to use the bubble weapon, but I personally don't like buying it unless I have like an excess amount of money. So I just avoid shooting the blue flame if possible. So again, some hard jumps here. 2 of these firewalls is going to spawn 3 hedgehogs. Deal with them and then jump over it. And this last one, you gotta time it as usual. And as you can see, my light is running out, but because I'm about to get to the next mid-boss, the screen goes back to normal. So again, I'm still on my first scope, which is very good. Now for this boss, you want to claw under it and stay close. By doing this, not only can you avoid the jump, but you can also avoid the projectiles that he shoots. He only shoots them like 3 ways and like left and right. And again, 3-way shot is really good, and the reason why it's really good here is because of how the bosses work. For some bosses, like the mid-ghosts we've seen so far, you can just melt them like butter, which is really good. But when it comes to the main bosses in particular, they become like, how can I say this? They become briefly invincible for a very, very brief moment, like just for a very short moment when you shoot them. So you'd think the 3-way shot would be good, but not really, because like you shoot them and like you can mash fast, but like only like 1 of the shots will actually connect and until they get out of that invincibility state, which is again very brief, but it's brief enough in that mashing with the 3-way shot is like not necessary. So when it comes to those bosses, the 3-way shot is still good, but only against like what, the snowman, because he summons those snow minions. So yeah, certain bosses though, like the mid-ghost, 3-way shot's freaking amazing, but other than that, you want to keep it simple, like with the regular shot or the phaser shell. So I went back to the start. That 1-way door to the left does send you to the beginning. Only take that if you want to go to the beginning, since you can't walk back. And now I'm going my way to the main boss, since I already dealt with the 2 mini-ghosts in this stage. And it's a bit of footwork here. I think if you defeat the fire giant first and then the fire dragon, it might be faster, since, like, you know, if you defeat the fire dragon second, you'd already be right here, and then you can just make your way onto the second, the main boss. But I don't know, I prefer doing it this way. I'm going to go right here, and then... Now, it could be me, but one of my runs, I don't know if it was because I was just testing it out on an easier difficulty, that crate did have a 1-up, I don't know why. It might be complete RNG, like, it might be chance. But yeah, there are 1-ups in this game, they're very rare. There is one stage in particular where there is a guaranteed 1-up, but you see that much later in the long play. For now, let's start the main boss.
Lucky you got here. I never thought you'd get this far. But this is the end of you. I'll burn you to a crisp.
Boss is pretty simple. You can only shoot it in the mouth, and when it comes out of one of these walls, it'll either be like upside down or just be like, you know, facing normally, just in a normal state. Only has 2 attacks. It'll either shoot a 3A projectile at you, easy to dodge if you're already far away from the boss, or it will spit out this flame jelly. I don't think it's possible to shoot this flame jelly. It seems invincible. I've even tried the bubble weapon and it did nothing. Like, I could be wrong, maybe you can defeat it with some weapon, but I think I've tried almost every weapon and, like, nothing worked. But, again, pretty easy boss, just avoid the jelly and keep shooting the mouth, and if you're far away enough, like, ideally, if you don't want to get hit at all, just take a few shots at the boss and then go away so that you have enough time and space to dodge projectiles. After you do that, and just shoot it enough times, then you should be good. Now for the 4th stage, I am going to buy the phaser shell. The 3-way shot is great for the 2 mid-ghosts coming up, but the phaser shot is very great for the main boss, and you will see that happen later. I'm going to max out my bombs, and I'm going to save the rest of my money for the special suit and some energy increase, some energy tanks I should say. So this is a high-rise building, just like the last 2 stages we did. There are 2 mid-ghosts to face. Alright, so this is the 4th stage. Right away you want to go to the right in order to find a crate with $300 in it. If you want to grind out money here, you can, because what you can do right here is exit the stage, go back, and the crate with the money will be back. So you can keep going back and forth until you have like enough money to buy everything in this game. It will take a while, and you don't really need to do that. Like, heck, in this run I don't even need to do it. But if you are struggling with this game, it is something you can do. Because, I mean, obviously, like, there is another answer. You could just, you know, just pop in like a game genie and just get infinite money or something. But if you want a quote-unquote, like, legit way to grind money, that is a way you can do it. So, the stage is a little annoying. The green worms in particular, they have a lot of health. So I don't usually like dealing with them unless I, like, absolutely have to. Getting to that Slimer is also difficult, but I think you can just make it respawn by going away. So I'm gonna walk in here, go back. I'm gonna miss it here, but that's okay because they actually go with you on the screen if they're close enough. Alright, now it feels like I talked really fast here. Anyways, this boss, if you don't have the 3-way shot, it's a freaking nightmare because there's multiple parts to take out. If you're shooting one part at a time, it's going to take a very long time, and if you take long with this boss, it will actually like make all of its parts scatter and bounce around all around the screen. It's a complete mess. It's screwed up. But if you have the 3-way shot, you should be able to take it down before it's able to do that. It's 2 pieces left, so I should be able to take it out soon. There we go. And yeah, like, just have the 3-way shot. It's much more bearable. You can defeat it without using the 3-way, like just a regular shot alone, but it's going to take a lot of time. And you can definitely get hit. Like, it's very easy to get hit if you're using the regular shot. So now that I take care of the first mid-ghost, it's time to go over to the second one. Now, the second mid-ghost, pretty easy, and you always want to face this one first. Like, the first mid-ghost I just defeated, you always want to face that one first because the second mid-ghost is very, very close to the main boss. Similar to stage 2, where when you defeat the second mid-ghost, the crystal giant, like the main boss is just to the left and that's it. Now, I get to talk about these teacups, which are very annoying. You might have seen it earlier where they take like, what, 10, 13 hits to defeat? And what's cool about this special edition mod is that there is, like, when you download it, like, you know, when you're playing the game, the teacups actually have 1 HP, which is a great change in my opinion. Like, I don't normally like when HP values are messed with in the game, like if it might make it either too hard or too easy. But this is the one case where I don't mind because like the teacups, they don't do anything, they just waste time. They're just there, like they're not threatening, they don't shoot projectiles or anything, they just go around that circle and that's it. They just waste time. So if you do have this mod, you can and I should mention that it will be in the description. I probably should have said that in the intro. But yeah, it makes them much easier to deal with, like less of a slog. However, I am playing the pure version of this mod, which makes it so they don't have that decrease in HP. So you get to see how tanky these teacups are in all of their glory. Very fun. So I should be close to the second main boss. I'm probably going to be quiet for a bit because I don't really have much to say. Well, actually, I could talk about how the energy works. So, as you can see, when I shoot the 3-way multiple times, it doesn't really take energy away until I shoot like a certain amount of shots. And I think this is good because like if it took energy for every time you shot it, that would have been a mess. It's like this in the normal version of 2, thank goodness. The phaser, each weapon and like item, like the shields, they take a certain amount of energy away. So for example, the phaser shell, after a few shots, it'll take 1 bar. The 3-way, you can fire like 5 or 7, I'm not sure, before it takes a bar away. And if you use something expensive like the barrier, which makes you immune to like all attacks, it will drain your energy very fast, like every few seconds you lose a bar. So when it comes to items like that, you usually want to put it on when you're about to get hit and then take it off immediately to save your energy. That's assuming you can even afford the barrier. That thing is like 35,000 bucks, so have fun getting that. So right here is the second mid boss. The regular shot or the three-way is good. This is a very easy boss, it only has 2 attacks. It'll either roll into you like this, very easy to dodge, should have a hard time dodging it. Or it will do this where like, if you're close to it, it'll shoot a beam at you from below. And only when it's open or when it's like when you see it moving left and right, when it's like keep closing and opening like that, like that's the only time you can damage it. If you have the three-way, you can melt this thing like butter. You can already see it's changing color like really fast. So the three-way is very great for this fight if you want to speed it up. If you have the regular shot, all that means is it's going to take longer. This boss really isn't that hard. I don't even know why I've got hit a few times in this fight, but yeah, very easy boss. Should be no problem. There we go, and I am going to capture this ghost. After you defeat the second mid ghost, the stair to the 4th main boss will appear, so make sure you're ready. Make sure, if you have the phaser shell, this fight will be much easier, and yeah, here we go. Do you know how good toasted marshmallows taste? I love marshmallows. But one day I ate too much and then realized I've become the marshmallow man. I'll do the same to you. You enjoy it. So this is, yes, as you guessed, Stay Puft the Marshmallow Man, which is, again, it's really cool to see like characters from the movie. And this fight isn't too hard. Right here you see me use the phaser shot glitch. With the phaser, well, phaser shot, it's technically called the phaser shell. So the phaser shell, it can only have 1 bullet at a time, but if you switch weapons while the bullet is out, then go back to the phaser shell, you can shoot it again, because switching weapons makes the shot disappear. You don't have to do this, like honestly, I think it might be just as fast to just land shots than to just use a glitch, like right here, so I just go back to shooting normally. And the reason why the phaser shell is so good for this fight is because you can see that when you shoot from the left and right, you do a lot of hits to Stay Puft, assuming you got good aim. And this is also one of the few bosses that you can actually use bombs to damage him with, and using a combination of well-timed phaser shell shots and bombs, you can take it out really fast. So honestly, I think it's an easy boss all around. And coming up is going to be the 5th stage, along with some story. And now it's time to stack up on some items. So from here, I'm going to buy the special suit and upgrade my energy tank. So I'm going to buy that and buy this. I am also going to max up my bombs, because there are a lot of annoying enemies in this upcoming stage, and the bombs can be useful. And yeah, from here, there's just what looks like 1 stage left, but there is 1 more stage after this. So go to the castle, and you'll be greeted with 4 mid ghosts, which is a sign of things to come, and a cutscene coming up right here. So you've come, hand over the tablet. Okay, I understand. Finally, all the pieces are in place. I failed once, but I'll succeed this time. With this, my long years of effort will pay off. Now, give my friends back to me. Both of them are in the castle somewhere. Look for them as you like. I don't know if they're okay or not. I'm pretty sure I just used the same exact voice for both of them. Anyhow, this is what I'd like to call a difficulty spike if you're going into this blind. This stage is huge and it's very easy to get lost in it if you don't have like a guide in the description, or you know, this is your first time playing this. It's very easy to get lost here. So the first thing I do is go to the bottom, and normally to reach one of the first mid-ghosts you want to keep going through the bottom path, but I'm going to do a very interesting skip here. So destroy these bats, and when you go to the right you want this jelly to jump to the left. And then go to the right, wait for him to jump to the right, and get hit on purpose so that you can reach the platforms above. The path up here takes way longer. It's not that hard in my opinion, but again, it does take way longer. So if you want to skip all of that, just get hit by the jelly on purpose. Make sure you're facing left when you get hit. And look, already I'm up to the first mid-ghost of this stage. So use the phaser shell. This is pretty much you facing off against one of your allies, and the goal here is to hit the marionette that's controlling them. And with the phaser shell, you can take it out in 3 hits, which is freaking amazing. And there's one more fight like this. Again, like I just saved Peter, and next I gotta save Egon. And what makes this fight so easy is that, first off, the phaser shell does a lot to the marionette, and second, the Ghostbuster will copy the weapon you're using, and since the phaser shell is really slow, it's pretty easy to dodge the weapon. And it should be noted that if you shoot the Ghostbuster, you won't deal any damage, so make sure the phaser shell shoots the marionette. If it goes through the Ghostbuster, that's fine, but make sure it hits the marionette first in order to deal damage. So now I'm going to move on to the left. I'm not going to save Egon yet. I'm going to first go after one of the other mid-ghosts. So you have some enemies here. Jump to the left, which is pretty much where I started from. And now you want to go up this ladder and go to the right. There's going to be a lot of enemies here. I'm pretty sure I take a hit here if I'm right. Yeah, I got hit right there. You can't use a bomb here. I don't know why I just saved it. I should have just used a bomb to deal with this. But you can also just crawl to the right, like this. Now, from here, you can either do this, where I just fall to the left and then crawl, or just... You can try jumping to the right, but it's very easy to get hit by the guillotine instead. Now, to find this next mid-ghost, you have to do some platforming, and oh boy, is this part annoying if it's your first time playing here. There's 2 Slimers above. I'm pretty sure I get hit once here. And after the 2 Slimers is another ghost, the red one that flies, that'll shoot 2 projectiles. If you're not ready for it, like here, you just get hit and get sent back down. And if you're really unlucky, you just get sent all the way back down and have to do all of this jumping again. And it can get annoying fast. So for the ghosts coming up, I just use a bomb because I'm playing on hard mode. They take more hits to defeat. I could be wrong, but on the easier difficulties, the ghosts will get more health as you go through the game, so you might have to also use a bomb on those difficulties as well. This boss coming up, use the 3-way shot because this is a damage check boss. If you don't deal enough damage in time, it will corner you and you will take a hit due to how big it is, since you can't jump over it. Most importantly, it turns into these separate parts. You might have seen this in stage 4 with the first mid-ghost. And if you have the 3-way shot, pretty easy. I do take some hits here. But thanks to the 3-way shot, you can just defeat them very quickly. If you're using the regular shot or even the phaser shell, it's going to take a very long time, and it is really not fun. But yeah, that's the second mid-ghost. I am going to capture this one. That should be this right here. Yeah, there we go. So I prefer doing the mid-ghost in this order because now that I defeat the second mid-ghost, which is the worm, Egon is actually very close to this, so deal with that guy, and I'm going to drop all the way down. I prefer dropping all the way to the right side or left side to avoid the guillotine on the bottom. Then I'm going to go through this door, and now we have to work our way up to get to Egon. Now, when you go up these disappearing platforms, go to the left first. There is a 1-up waiting for you. I don't really need it since this is a no death run. Like, there's no point in me getting it, but I did want to show that it's actually there. Now you want to go to the top right. It can be a little bit, like, frustrating since, like, 1, I'm using Raymond, and 2, like, you have to wait for the disappearing platforms. But it's not too bad, just like keep your eye on when the platforms disappear. And you should be able to make it up there soon. I am messing up a lot here. Alright, there we go. And the rest is self-explanatory, it's pretty easy to get up here. And coming up is Egon. Similar to how I dealt with Peter, switch to the phaser shot. And get behind him, shoot the phaser shell. I keep calling it phaser shell and phaser shot. But yeah, as usual, 3 hits, easy. And I was very close to pulling off a fast capture like I did at stage 2, but I did mess up my positioning. But again, really easy fight. If you do this without the phaser shell, it's also easy, but since the regular shot is faster, it's technically easier to get hit as well. So that's why I think the phaser shot is amazing. Now, as you might have noticed, hey, these 2 midi-ghosts are pretty close to each other. Even better, the 4th midi-ghost is also really close, so what you want to do here is jump, get on the platform, go to the left. And you want to keep going to the left, you just stick to crawling to avoid the guillotines. Got hit there, that's embarrassing. And as you keep going to the left, you see a ladder, you go up it, and immediately go to the right, and what do you know, you're already up to the 4th boss. This 4th boss gave me a lot of trouble, well, this 4th midi-ghost. And this is the Reaper. He only has 2 attacks. He will either go after you and some of these 4 fire rings. It's possible to take them out with the 3-way shot, but they do take a lot of bullets. Or he will come down at you and swipe the air. That swipe does like 4 bars of health, and like if you're not paying attention or you rush it like I was in this fight, it's very easy like to get hit by it. So yeah, I had a hard time with this fight. I think the phaser shell might be good here because like if you can aim some really good shots, you can like make it hit the head as it's floating above. And as you can see here, the 3-way shot is also pretty good in that it makes it easier to hit the head. But yeah, I did struggle a bit in this fight, so much so that I'm pretty sure that like I had to resort to like a pegging duck in order to like keep this run alive. So I'm going to get hit soon. I should mention, oh wait, there it is. So I started panicking a little bit here because he was about to go for another attack, so I said screw it and we just heal up. And thank goodness I did, because I ended up getting hit right there. Maybe I could have avoided it if I didn't like pause the screen and get confused on where I was. But while I am dealing with this boss, I should mention. So when you face Egon and Peter, not only is the phaser shell really good, but let's say you don't have the phaser shell. Bombs will also hit the marionette, and it's good because not only will it hit the marionette, but it won't hit Peter and Egon, so you don't have to aim the bombs in order to like hit the marionette. And I think it takes about 4 bombs to defeat it. And as useful as that is, I prefer saving the bombs for the main boss, and you will see that later. So now it's time to make it up to the boss. I'm going to shoot these enemies first. And from here, all you gotta do is go to the left and start making your way up. I'm very sorry for my speech impediment. Now, go up this ladder. There should be a Slimer right here. Perfect. Grab the tier, and now you want to go up these green disappearing platforms. There is going to be one more Slimer to the left. Unfortunately, when I shoot, I end up dropping down, and if you defeat the Slimer and instantly go off screen, the tier that it drops, whether it be life or energy, it just won't appear. Like, that was it. So if that was energy, well, I missed my chance to get some extra energy. But that's fine, the energy I have now is enough. So you want to go to the left, go up this ladder, and after this wall is the 5th main boss.
You came at a good time. Just now I'm very hungry. I might even eat Arthur, that rat. Fee, fi, fo, fum. You can't really think of ruling us. He should have shut up and collected tablets. Now I have a pleasant dinner. The menu features the Ghostbusters.
Let's see. So this boss is pretty easy. All you have to do is just crawl around the floor as you see I'm doing here. Phaser Shell is very useful because with this boss, you can only attack it while its mouth is open. If you try to hit it otherwise, it won't do any damage. As for the plants growing, they'll go after your direction. Like if they grow directly above you, they'll go straight down, but otherwise they'll go either to the left or right. It depends on where you are. But yeah, as you can see, you can dodge a lot of the attacks just by crawling around. And if you have plenty of bombs here, you can actually use the bombs to not only hit the boss, and like when the mouth is open, but you can also use it to clear the screen. So you see that right here. I damaged the boss and I hit the plant that was after me. So if you got plenty of bombs here, it can be a safety net if you have a difficult time dodging these plants. But other than that, this is a pretty easy boss fight in my opinion. So if you have the phaser shot, it should be really fast. And the phaser shot is actually, I didn't notice it till I tried using the regular shot. It's really great for this fight because the phaser shot goes through a lot of like enemies and obstacles. If you use the regular shot, it can actually be blocked by like the roots that are like growing when some of the plants. So again, by now you should definitely have the phaser shell. Yet again, I keep calling it phaser shot and phaser shell, but you know, either way, have the phaser shell, whatever you want to call it, and you should be good to go. Alright, now coming up is the very last stage of the game, and this is more or less a boss rush where all of the mid-ghosts are based off the main bosses you fought before, but with more health this time. Now, I don't really have much to say about this stage. It's pretty confusing. The plants and enemies you have to deal with can be very annoying, and this stage was, like, I could have had a better run, but this run in particular, I had a difficult time keeping my HP up, so I actually had to backtrack to buy some, to heal up and buy another Peck and Duck, and you see that happen in this stage. Other than that, I don't really have much to say here. I could talk about the obstacles in your way, like these plants that, the ones that shake will shoot needles, but if you touch them, they deal a lot of damage. But other than that, this stage can be very confusing if you don't know where you're going. And if you don't understand where I'm going, again, if you prefer text, You know, there are links in the description for this run with no edits or, well, I should say this run without, like, me talking. But most importantly, there is a game facts guide in the description if you just prefer text, and I did add images of the map that shows you, like, lines of where exactly to go, so that should be helpful too if you're following along. But yeah, this is pretty much a boss rush. I don't really have much to say here other than, like, some bosses are different since, like, with this boss in particular, there's, like, more room to go around, and, like, the fire boss is no pit. But yeah, I'm going to stay shut for now, and I'll be back once the final boss appears. And now coming up is the final boss. I'm pretty close to the boss room. And this is a two-phase boss fight, so it's going to take some time, but with the items you have, you should be more than ready to do this, so let's get it.
Are you the one who woke me up? Thank you. My name is Jana, the Lord of Death and Destruction. Your world will soon be ruled by the power of the world of darkness. You'll be my very first victim. You should feel very honored.
And now it's time for the final boss. And if it's your first time, it's going to be a little rough, but even if it is your first time, this phase is pretty easy. So the first phase, it'll draw a heart at you and then it will throw its sword. And that's pretty much the pattern. So my recommendation for this phase, get a few shots in with your photon and like with your regular shot, and save your energy for the second phase because that's where it's gonna get really nasty. And you might notice, why am I shooting like in spades? Why am I not mashing the button? Well, again, I think I mentioned it earlier where like some bosses you can just blast them and melt their health, and some bosses like this, they become invincible for a brief moment, so there's no point in mashing since when you're on normal and hard mode, you can only have 2 shots out at a time with the main weapon, so it might as well just like hit them, like space the shots out so that they actually deal damage. Now this is the second phase. This is where it gets really nasty and where you pretty much use all up, like I use most of my energy for this fight. As usual, Phaser Shell is a must because you can only hit this boss in the head and the Phaser Shell can thankfully go through the boss. If you use something like the regular shot, it can be blocked like the tooth, like the tusk you see on the bottom of the boss. So the Phaser Shell is really good here. Not only that, but you can see that I'm using bombs for this fight. Just like Stay Puft, you can actually use bombs to damage this boss, and obviously it won't do an insane amount of damage, but it will make this fight go a little bit faster. And right here is the first instance of me using the, well, at least if you're talking main bosses, like I'm actually using the special suit in order to mitigate the damage. The special suit halves your damage, and because I'm using Raymond, who's the most defensive of the 3 Ghostbusters, you pretty much take like 1 point of damage while the suit is on.
Now this fight is a little rough, like I got cornered a lot here. I think getting cornered on the left side is a bit less is less awkward than the right, because when you're on the right you can barely move at all. Like I'm pretty much stuck here, I have to take a hit. And right here I don't have a choice, I'm going to use the pecking duck to stay alive. And I am going to turn the shield so I can like take a hit and then get to the left side. Ideally staying on the left side is the best. And right here, since I got plenty of health to mess with, I am screwing around a little bit. I wanted to show off the explosive shot because I didn't get to use it earlier. It might be good for regular enemies, but it takes up a lot of energy, and it's like, just use the three-way shot, it's much better. And it takes less energy away. So there we go, that was the final boss, and with that we have finished Ghostbusters on the Sega Genesis. Pretty hard game. Said this many times if this is your first time playing, but if you got the map down, if you got the patterns down, you should be perfectly good to go. And yeah, that was Ghostbusters. If you're playing the normal version, you might get the credits would be different. You see an audience cheering for you instead. Of course, this version, instead you see like the Ecto 1 and like the Ghostbuster headquarters, which I think is a bit cooler. And honestly, I'm going to save my opinion for this game on the end, so I hope you stick around for that. That will pop up after the credits. But yeah, thank you for watching this long play. What can I say about Ghostbusters on Sega Genesis? Well, for a game made in 1990, it is a really good platformer. And you know what? It still holds up to this day. Graphics and sounds is good. I love the variety of ghosts. The gameplay is great. The controls are good. They're not perfect. I mean, like, when I think of the jumping, my only issue would be that you don't stand in place when you jump. Like, once you do a forward jump, you kind of have to like wiggle around for those very specific jumps. But that's only a minor nitpick, and it doesn't ruin the game for me. If you're into platformers, you should definitely pick this one up. But in my opinion, if you want the best experience, you should definitely try the Special Edition. The people that worked on this mod did a really good job, and I can't thank them enough for adding characters like Winston into the game. Thanks for watching. This game took me a while since it has been some time since I did a guide on a platforming game. But I am going to work on another guide sometime. I might take a break for now. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed and I'll see you later.